So you have your steps that you're going through. You're going to remember that a box isn't just a box, that once you have a good ability to draw a box, you can turn it into anything that you can imagine, pretty much. A building or a car, and it will help you to understand how to create three-dimensional space. You're going to have 2 class periods to get to this point where you have a sketch, your horizon line, and just the outline of your boxes sketched in, hopefully. You're going to find a comfortable spot in the room. So I'm going to be working with this still life, but I can't be turning around back and forth. So I'm going to use a drawing board today so that when I sit here to look at this part of the still life, I can look down at my paper and up without having to worry about turning around too much. Okay? Then you're going to decide where your eye level is. So if I had zombie radar vision and I was just sitting right here, my eye level falls somewhere right in here, and it's the horizon line, a horizontal line. If I stand up really high, that horizon line would be higher. If I scrunch down really low, the horizon line or my eye level line is lower, and I can see more of the bottoms of the boxes. So your viewpoint changes what you're going to see, and sometimes artists use that to create a really dramatic sense. So using the iPads, we used a viewfinder to zoom in, and you're not trying to draw every single box here. And moving your hand around, zooming in and out a little bit, you can start to look at maybe a part of the composition that you would like to try to sketch on your paper. The iPad is a great tool, and to look at the value, the lights and darks, it's really a helpful tool. So I've selected this. This is a student's composition. They photographed it. Logging into your Google Drive, and then when you're logged into your Google Drive, if you go to the camera on your iPad, and you touch the screen, you're able to click the edit button and use the crop tool to experiment with different compositions. So take some time and try some different things. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this background space. You don't want too much negative space, too much background space in little tiny boxes. One key thing to recognize is that I want you guys to do the photograph and get the black and white filter on, which is also easy to do in the camera and edit. If you click these 3 little dots, you can use mono or tonal. I think noir gives you the most contrast. I like that one. But you can experiment because you want the biggest range of values, the most differences in value that you can possibly have in your photograph as a reference point. So once you have your composition, it's really important to recognize that this composition represents the edge of your paper. So what do you think I hold my paper in landscape or in portrait? In portrait. Right, so you guys understand, that tells me, because you knew the answer there, that you understand that this edge is going to be the edge of your paper. So then how do you go about figuring out where to get started on your paper? Comparing the photograph can help you get started. So I can see in this instance that the big box, this big box, is going to be about the same distance. This box is the top of the composition, the top of the edge of the composition is coming in here. So this distance is about the same as this distance, and then about half this box is where the bottom edge is going to be. So you have to make comparisons to get the right proportions in. So the first thing you're going to do is get a drawing board and get set up comfortably. And then did you notice that I turned down a little bit of my paper? That's because the paper here is a little bit different of a format, a little bit longer of a format than the iPad screen. So be aware that probably 4 inches, there's about 4 inches different, and that could mess you up if you don't recognize that. So my eye level I'm going to sketch in really lightly. You're using a pencil. I'm going to use a Sharpie here so that we can see. And then this student has photographed, let's see. So if I compare the box in the photograph, this first big line would be the first thing that I would choose to put in. It's a little more than halfway over. So I'm just going to eyeball halfway, and I'm going to mark where that line would be. It's going to take up about this much space. And then I can compare by looking that this is, it's not a horizontal line right here. This edge of the box tips slightly up, and it goes 1, 2, 3. If I had thirds here, 2/3 of the way across. So if I divide on my paper 1, 2, 3, I can see that the edge of this box is, the other side is going to be coming down right in about here. And this line is going to tilt up a little bit too, instead of being horizontal, while the very corner is off the edge. So that gives me the placement of this box. There's just the tiniest bit on this edge that I'm looking at in my composition, and that'll be a nice light value. And this will lead me back, if I get the angle right, to where this line is going to meet up with the back corner of that box. So this gives me a good starting point. If I can get the proportions of my first box in correctly, then I would like for you guys to have me come check your work. I'll be coming around, and then to put the photograph away and try to just look at the boxes and go from there, because drawing from a 2D, a photograph, onto a 2D paper is a lot easier than drawing something that's 3D and trying to figure out how to get it right. So I'm going to challenge you in that way. Okay? So I'll come around and help you, and I can't wait to see the compositions you come up with. Okay?